Have you ever felt small when standing next to someone else's success? Have you ever looked at another person's achievements and thought, why can't that be me? Have you forgotten the beauty of your own gifts because you were too busy wishing for someone else's life? If so, this story is for you. In today's world, comparison has become a constant shadow. With every scroll on our phone, we see someone richer, smarter, more beautiful, or more successful. Their highlight reels make our own lives feel ordinary, and so, we forget the quiet blessings we already hold. But this is not a new struggle. Even long ago, in a quiet little village surrounded by a forest as wide as the sky, there lived a boy named David. David was bright, hardworking, and kind. But inside, he was restless. He carried an invisible burden, the habit of comparing himself to everyone else. When his classmate John scored the highest marks, David whispered to himself, "If only I were as smart as him." When his neighbor Mark became wealthy, David sighed, "Why wasn't I born lucky like him?" And when others ran faster, sang better, or seemed braver, he would mutter, "I will never be enough." Day after day, these thoughts poisoned his spirit. He stopped enjoying the little things like the way sunlight danced on the leaves, or the laughter of children in the village square. He walked through life with his head lowered, convinced that he was destined to be less. One autumn afternoon, an old traveler came to the village. His name was Grandpa Thomas. He was known for his wisdom, for the way his eyes seemed to hold the calm of many lifetimes. Villagers often gathered around him, listening to his gentle but powerful stories. David, desperate to escape his own misery, went to him. "Grandpa," David confessed, his voice barely a whisper, "I work hard, I try my best, but whenever I see someone doing better, I feel so small. I feel like I'll never measure up." Grandpa Thomas listened quietly. He didn't rush to reply. After a moment of silence that felt like an eternity, he simply said, "Come to the oldest tree in the village tomorrow morning. There you will find your answer." At dawn, David arrived at the great tree. Its roots stretched deep into the earth, and its branches reached toward the sky like open arms. Grandpa Thomas stood waiting with a warm smile. He asked, "Tell me, David, what do you see around you?" David looked carefully. "I see so many trees. Some are tall and proud, some are short and bent, some are heavy with fruit, while others stand bare." The old man nodded slowly. "Now, imagine if the apple tree looked at the oak and cried, 'Why am I not as tall?' Or if the oak complained, 'I wish I had sweet fruit like the apple.' How would that sound?" David chuckled softly. "It would sound ridiculous." "Exactly," Grandpa replied, his gaze kind. "And yet, is this not what you do every day?" David froze. For the very first time, he saw himself clearly like a tree wishing to be something it was never meant to be. He looked again at the forest, and something shifted inside him. Each tree was different, yet together they created a beautiful, harmonious whole. None tried to be another, and still, the forest was complete. Grandpa Thomas then led David further, to a pond so still it mirrored the sky. Fish swam gracefully in the clear water, while high above, a bird soared on the wind. "Tell me," the old man asked, "what if the fish wished to fly like the bird, or the bird longed to swim like the fish? Would that make any sense?" David shook his head. "Of course not. Fish are meant to swim, and birds are meant to fly." Grandpa Thomas's eyes softened. "Then why, my boy, do you spend your life wishing to be someone else? Do you not see? You too have been given gifts, unique, precious gifts. Perhaps you have not yet discovered them, but they are yours alone. Find them, nurture them, and you will see your life bloom." David stood there in silence, his heart pounding. The old man's words had struck him like lightning. All these years, he had been blind, measuring himself against others, instead of seeing the value within himself. That very day, something inside David shifted for good. He decided to stop comparing and to start discovering. Little by little, he began to focus on his own strengths. He worked harder, yes, but more importantly, he worked with joy. He stopped envying John's cleverness or Mark's wealth, and instead asked himself, "What can I do with the gifts I already have?" Years passed. David grew into a man of courage and vision. He built his own business not because he wanted to outshine anyone, but because he followed his own path with faith and determination. His efforts bore fruit, and he became a source of inspiration for the very people he once envied. And whenever someone asked him, "David, how did you succeed? What is your secret?" he would smile and reply, "Never compare yourself to others. If a fish tries to fly, it will always feel like a failure. But if it swims, it can master the whole ocean." The lesson is simple, yet life-changing. The sun and the moon do not shine at the same time, but both are essential. The river does not envy the mountain, and yet both shape the world in their own magnificent way. And so it is with you. Your gifts may not look like someone else's, but they are yours for a reason. Find your own path. Walk it with courage. That is where real success, real peace, and real happiness truly live. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear these words today. And if you'd like more stories that remind you of your own worth, consider subscribing. Because sometimes, all it takes is one story to change the way you see yourself and your life forever. Thank you for watching.